Like on Facebook, you don't have to watch a video to get in. You can see the product. There's product photos, product demo photos. We got the product named in the headlines. Like, you know, we're not really trying to hide anything and trick people into like spending time with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're just being upfront. We're trying to draw people in and show how different we are at satisfying this thing.
Right. So it seems like these ads work to dig that, establish that niche, and give people who are very interested and more interested, and because people will go, it's not for me.
Yeah, like exactly. If anybody wants to spend $1,000 on that breakthrough advertising book, he talks about this a lot. Because back in the day, guess what they didn't have? Facebook. And so they couldn't just like try an ad and fail and try another. They would spend 6 months writing this long form ad. 6 months, because they had one shot in the advertorial to get it right. Okay, so we have the privilege now that we can be like, yeah, that one didn't work, next. Okay? And so, yeah.
I was thinking of what you're saying. I think the difference here is that this is a long form focused sales conversation, whereas the guys on YouTube, maybe they have a product, but part of their job is to just keep you there and sell advertising.
Yeah.
They're not doing this, right?
Yeah, thank you for that input. Thank you for that input. Sorry, which one? Yeah, anyway, thank you for adding that point in there, because that's not what we're trying to do here, where there's no like hidden intent. We're just trying to say, hey, listen to us. And the key is, he talks about this in the book, they would spend out of that 6 months, they would spend like 4 months getting a desire rate. It's insane, the process that they used to go through. And so it's all about tapping into that most prominent desire. If you went through my actual training, I have this whole process where I'm like, here's the 4 places desires come from, we're going to brainstorm 10 desires, and then grade them on which one is the most urgent, has the most staying power, and has the greatest number of people who share this desire. So you have to pick the right one. If you don't, no one's going to read this dang thing.
We have to have your finger on the pulse of the people or of your target market.
You weren't here yesterday, were you?
I was here.
You know how much I was talking about that, like the avatar. You gotta know.
Yeah, you gotta know your avatar.
Right? So yeah.
Yeah, you
My
definitely.
you know.
Everybody's not your customer.
Right.
If someone is interested, they're definitely gonna spend more time and get more information.
Yeah.
And the avatar, when they taught me the avatar, it changed everything.
He was in our mission.
It changed everything. And I knew my customer in the first week I started making sales. When I first came in, I had no idea. I thought everybody was my customer. But they drilled down on what was my customer.
Yeah.
They asked me questions. I wrote it out for a week, 2 weeks, went to the classes.
2 weeks,
And it was like, oh, this is my customer. And when I did my ads, it was going bing, bing, bing. I'm sitting around my house like, did that thing ring again? Bing, bing. Oh man, this. Once I learned it, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. Yeah, it makes that sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not really going into everything, but I have like a 41-point question about who your avatar is.
Yeah.
And the truth is, with our mentorship system, I said it yesterday, we can't help people unless they have product validation. Right? I was going nuts on product validation yesterday. If you don't have product validation, we don't know who likes you. Okay? And so that's the key. You need to know who likes you and why they like you. Right? Okay, good questions. Let's keep going. So I'm going to skip past all these examples now because, this was a cool one though. Val came down. She has a brand called Spread Love Peanut Butter. They're like famous on Amazon. And when I met her, she's like, yeah, we're on Amazon. We want to like build some success on Shopify. She comes into our mentorship system. These are her 2 long-form story ads she wrote. 10 return on ad spend. If you have a 10 return on ad spend, that means spend 1,000, generate 10,000. Spend 10,000, generate 100,000. Okay? And so they've been really effective. I hope this is enough encouragement that this stuff works when you get it right. Okay? A couple others. One of my favorite, I'm going to show the last one, Veronica. Veronica comes from a corporate background. She's really smart and she couldn't get sales. She sells like a $300 clutch type purse. And she couldn't get sales. She went through our whole mentorship system, and then I launched the long-form chain. I'm like, Veronica, I know what we need to do. And English isn't her first language. She's Spanish-speaking, English isn't her first language. And I'm like, and she's like, Scott, you make it sound easy. She's getting frustrated with me. People are getting frustrated with me. But I'm like, you can get frustrated with me, but if you do this, it's gonna work. It's just like a personal trainer for fitness. You can get frustrated with them. Okay? And she finally pushed through. She just posted this like 2 days ago in our community. She's like, I want to report that since we started running the long format that Scott got us, we sold 13 of these purses at $300 each in a month.
Wow.
All right? I was hitting up Veronica like back on the ground. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Because I remember her telling me, Scott, this has to work. And I was like, well, the only way it's going to is if you go through the process and you squeeze that last little bit of toothpaste out too. You gotta work hard at this. Okay? Alright. So it's a grueling process. This is like these slides are from the mastermind. Everyone was like, yeah, it's so grueling. Okay. But let's just go. I just want to get into some of this workshop and stuff. I could go through this kind of quickly, but basically, I'm going to share with you a process to make the long form story ad in under an hour. So anytime you need to create an ad, you can do this process, and then you get to repurpose the content for short form story copy and creative. Don't worry about the chunking exercise thing, you know what that is. But essentially, you're going to be able to use this process to create a long format and short form copy where you're not losing the story. The story remains the same, whether you're saying everything at once or snippets of it at a time. Okay? And here's a little recap from yesterday. You guys remember I was talking about omelets? And basically what I was saying is I was teaching the 5-part position for the hook, transaction, brand, influence, function. You brainstorm those, you mix and match those ingredients, you serve up those omelets to your audience to see which one's the fan favorite. It's the same thing with the long form story. I'm going to show you how to create a bunch of snippets from this long format that you can recreate and remix to create little short formats. Alright, let's get past this. Okay, let's get into it. I don't want to waste any more time. So this is what my man Eugene Schwartz in his book written in 1966 talks about. There's basically 4 places that desires come from. There's 2 of them come from permanent forces in the world, and 2 of them come from changing forces in the world. Permanent forces are things like mass instincts. So it's things that humans have had from the beginning of time. Love, safety, health, wealth, relationships. Okay? The other kind of permanent force is the innovation problem. That means they have an unsolved desire. Okay, so they're trying to solve something, but no matter what they try, it's not solving it. Okay, and so you want to position your brand as like the final fix. It's going to solve that unsatisfied desire. And then there's 2 that are changing forces in the world. Don't worry, we're not going to get too into the weeds with all this strategy stuff. This is one important step. Okay, so kind of puzzle book. Okay. So with changing forces, there's 2 types. There's trends, which can be very effective. That's things like there's tariffs now, we've got a tariff sale. Or things that are happening in the world that we can piggyback on. Or like eco-friendly products. You know? Okay? Or there's mass education. Mass education isn't the same thing as a trend. It means that society collectively understands something new about your category that they didn't know about 10 years ago. So it's the sum of all education and ads and what people know. It's basically like in 1950, they were doing ads and made cigarettes sound cool. Like, doctor's favorite is Camel. And then 12 years later, it's like, wait a minute. People know it isn't that healthy anymore, right? So smoking is like the clearest example, but there's probably things in your product category. For brand skincare, everybody's like an ingredient scientist now. And they weren't 15 years ago. Okay? So you can think about all these things. But I'm going to give you a shortcut today. I just want to focus on one of those. And so my favorite place to pull a desire is the innovation problem. Okay, so this is the problem that people keep searching for. They're buying and trying until something finally works. The urge doesn't go away until the solution actually works. Okay, so we're going to use this one. So if everybody has the worksheet, you can kind of fill this out as we go along. I'm going to be showing you an example of another brand I'm working with right now. They're also in my hometown, Edmonton, Alberta. And it's called Field Trip. And they have like an ultra hydrated super body butter. Okay? So I've been working on this process with Krista, she's the founder over there. And so the first thing you want to think about is identify for your product, your customer, what's the perpetual problem that they have that's not going away. For Krista and the body butter, this is literally why she invented it, is because we live in the Arctic winter and we also have hot summers. So there's like a need for something that can help hydrate in both conditions. And so the perpetual problem for our customer at Field Trip is the need to reapply frequently. So every 2 hours I'm reapplying, I'm repurchasing. And so the unsolved desire is deep, long-lasting hydration. No matter what I try, I can't find something that lasts 24 hours. And so the final fix This is something that I talk about in depth in the training, is you want to define your solution. This is your unique mechanism. So in breakthrough advertising, we talk about this. Like, what's your unique method of satisfying that desire that other people don't do? Okay, and so for us, we came up with a name for it. It's this super nourished complex formula. And really what it comes down to is Krista actually found this lab in Canada. Is the only person that could do it. She didn't like anything that she was making. It was either too textured or it wouldn't absorb. But she finally found this lab that had this cooling process where they cool the body butter as it's being formulated. Okay, and so we gave it a name, like the Super Nourish Complex trademark. And so you can give a name to your unique method. But your entire app needs to demonstrate how radically you are at satisfying this desire. That's the idea. Like, we know what you're struggling with. We are insane at satisfying this. Got it? Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you now 4 headline formulas. These are like those hooks I was talking about yesterday. Okay? So the easiest one to fill out, and it's pretty effective. This is a good place to start when you're warming up this process. This is what I call the unique mechanism plus desire formula. So this is the opening of the app. And so you probably recognize some of these it's not you've seen. The first one is like, finally, unique mechanism that satisfies desire. So like, finally, a waterless body butter that hydrates for 24 hours. That'd be like a short example. The next one is, what's the secret to satisfying desire? Unique mechanism. So we say, what's the secret to long-lasting hydration? Super Nourish Complex. And people are like, dang, I never heard of that. What is that? Okay, got that one? So that's number 1. If you're filming the workshop, you can do it later. You can do it, okay? So let's go to the second one, which is actually probably my favorite one. It's the intense founder formula. The intense founder formula. And yeah, it's showing the great lengths that you went to solve this. Okay, so the formula would be like, we insert the great lengths you've gone to create your product or unique mechanism that provides benefit. Okay, so it would be something like, we searched 47 forests and tested 17 different kinds of tree bark to infuse our candle with ingredients that will make any home smell like the Canadian Rockies. That's made up. Sorry, I made it up recently. But it's made up. Okay, but wouldn't you want to try that candle? Like, what the heck? These people are like sifting through forests and tree barks and like, my home's gonna smell like the Rockies? I gotta try that. Okay? So it could be things like, how many iterations? Like, it took us 15 years and 60 prototypes. And we tested every kind of. I did one recently with a company that I've been working with in Merchant Mastery. She sells like these bamboo fabric onesies for babies, and she solved it for her own child. She was scared that her kid was not sleeping and SIDS and all those horror stories, right? So she basically, we came up with one that was like, we traveled 32,000 kilometers to meet with the top bamboo specialists in the world before finding someone who could mix the top 2 ingredients that help babies sleep. Okay? So it's the distance you travel, it's the years, it's the prototypes. I was working, I don't know if you saw the soap one. I was going back for some examples for you. Did you get all the ones I was showing? No. Okay. Hit me up later, but there was a soap example. Okay. And one of the soap examples we came up with Natalie. She's like, Scott, I don't have 17 years. I've been doing this for like a year and a half. Like, I don't have 100 prototypes. But she told me she like obsessed over this and she has lots of skin burns and almost blew up her laundry room. So it's like I burned my skin 5 times and almost blew up my laundry room on my mission to make the world safest soap. It's nuts. Okay? So I would like you to try this one. So the 2 we came up with for field trip. We found the only lab in Canada that can perfect our one-of-a-kind rapid fusion process because no other water was good enough. Or we didn't sleep until we created the most powerful moisturizer on earth. Now your skin can finally rest. Okay? The next one is and the good thing about these formulas is nobody else can say them. That's the key. You can't ChatGPT can't create the intense founder story. That's your story.
Yeah.
Right? And your unique mechanism, that's your unique mechanism. Stats and claims are the same thing. Okay? You want to quantify the effectiveness with numbers or make bold claims and promises. So one of ours is applying only a quarter of the average amount lasts 24 times longer. Less is more. Okay? Or 24-hour hydration. Cool? Okay, let's go to the 4th and last headline formula. I call this one the truth bomb. The truth bomb. And I'll give you an example of a truth bomb. This is going to be the most expensive skincare product you ever buy. Okay? So it's a bit of a pattern interrupt. And you're dropping a truth about your product, your category, or your industry. We're not going to sugarcoat this. Most soaps that say they're all vegan aren't. Or we're not going to sugarcoat this. Most people that say they're vegan soaps actually still use really harmful chemicals, which is true. I learned this in the soap example. So for field trip, we said, this was ours. We said F the average body butter and engineered one ourselves. Okay? But usually you're opening, if you looked at the Thai curry one, she was like, let's be real. Most Thai curry paste that you find in the supermarket are watered down to Western palates. Okay, that's a truth bomb. And if you, so this is a really effective one. Okay? Alright, we're done with the headline. Now we're going to what often people find the hardest one to do is the origin story. And in my in-depth training, I have like a rigorous process I go through, but what I want you guys to do is there's 5 parts of the origin story, and I want you to try and come up with one line for each of them. One-liners, okay? So the first ingredient of the origin story is the struggle. It's identifying the problem that nobody else can solve. Okay, and so for a field trip, we say, living in Canada, my skin was always at war with the elements. Why wasn't there one formula that could do it all? And in our real one, it's much longer. I just want one line. Like, whereas she has a really good product that you're coming out with that is truly innovative, right? It's a soap that gets rid of the niter creams that don't come off the soap. Okay? And so the struggle is like, when I had my baby and I was changing the diapers, I could never get that white cream off. And I thought, what the heck? Does nobody have a soap for this? Okay? Okay, and then it goes into the journey. I'm going to use you as an example because this is actually probably more really well. And so the journey is the search to see if there's a solution. And I was like, this can't be the case. So I went to 700 different markets and I checked 1,700 different websites to see if I could find a soap. And I was shocked that I couldn't find it. Okay, so the struggle is identifying the problem. The journey is your quest to find the solution. But the next part along the journey is what I call the spider bite. It's when you get bit, you become Spider-Man at this point. Okay? And basically with the spider bite is when you decide that you need to be the solution. It's like, I had this problem, I searched for it, I couldn't find it, and then finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Okay, so I'm going to be Spider-Man. Okay? And then we go to the next one, which is the revelation. And so this is when you discover the final fix, your unique mechanism. So the spider bite, you're like, I'm going to do it. Revelation is like, we finally, after testing 1,700 formulas, we finally figured out this process and our unique mechanism was born. So revelation is the birth of the unique mechanism. And then finally is the impact that's happening. Okay, so now you're like, fast forward today, we helped 1,700 moms get that white stuff off their hands in 2 seconds. And everybody's been happy and everybody's taking more time in their day. Just wrote your ad for you. Just wrote your ad for you. Okay. And so if you can see with field trip, it's, living in Canada, couldn't believe it. There had to be one. I searched everywhere. We wanted a moisturizer to do it all, so we made one. After countless attempts, we finally found the formula. Thousands of people are happy now. Okay? And in our real origin story is much longer. This is not one-liner origin stories. Okay, so that's what we do. And now we're going to go into the next section. Remember that differentiation stack where it's like, heck, they do it this way, we do it that way. They do it this way, we do it that way. Okay, so what you're trying to compare is features, benefits, and brands. So some things that you can compare is think about like the material, the quality, the features of competing solutions. Think about the performance and the benefits. Think about your production process and the packaging. Think about your customer support. And ultimately, what's your value proposition? Why should people choose you over somebody else? You should be able to come up with a one-liner elevator pitch that explains your value proposition. Okay, so then it looks like this. And we want to make sure when we work on this differentiation stack, remember we were picking an innovation problem? So we want to show like others haven't solved it for this reason, we solve it for this reason. Okay, so most body care brands use off-the-shelf watered-down formulas. Our waterless, waxless, biobarrier lock system ensures maximum hydration for long periods. Many products offer short-term results, leading to constant reapplication and repurchasing. We prioritize science-backed system. You guys get how it's going? Okay? And so all you need to do in this process, I don't see many people actually filling the worksheets, so you're probably going to be doing it later, which is cool. You're doing it?
A little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You'll probably do it later. But in my real training, I have to come up with like 8 of these. And so all I'm asking you to do is come up with at least one for the ChatGPT formula. Okay? All right, let's keep going. We're getting closer to the ChatGPT part. Okay, so the next part is testimonial snippets. So you want to try and find testimonials that overcome the most 4 common objections. People are skeptical of the results, they're worried about the price, they don't really trust the brand, or they're already working with a competitor. Like, I already like this product, why would I switch? So the testimonial would be like, I was using this product for 15 years, thinking it was the best, and I couldn't believe that it actually changed my mind when I tried this one. Okay? And so you want them also to make sure that the testimonials show that the problem was finally solved if you're doing an innovation design. Okay? And so you can see my testimonials. I've spent years searching for the perfect body butter. This is it. Nothing comes close. I finally found the one. Or I've tried dozens of body butters from drugstore to luxury. Nothing compares to this. You guys see how it's going? All right. The next one is the offer snippet. So you want to come up with like at least 4 ideas of what the offer could be. And so you want to usually either use incentive offers that will spur action. So these are things like 10% off your first purchase, like your welcome offer. It could be a promotional offer. It could be a shipping threshold, or urgency, or scarcity, limited time, limited quantity, limited supply. You gotta act now. Okay? Or it's risk reversal offers. So returns and exchanges, warranties and guarantees, or you're just justifying price. Like, yeah, it's expensive, but it replaces 10 products in your routine. You actually save money in the long run. Oh, not $100 is a good one. That. Oh yeah, of course.
What if you don't have reviews?
If you don't have reviews, so this is why it's important you already have validation, in my opinion. So I would go out there and get them. I would go out there and get them. If you don't have reviews though, I would use some of the other influence attributes that I was talking about yesterday. So it's other people's endorsements, certifications, awards, social proof, testimonials, how many times you sold out, what percent of 5-star reviews you have. If you don't have testimonials, there's other things you can invent that will work. Okay, want to take a picture of that one? Alright. Okay, and then so with these offer examples, you can see for field trip I came up with 4. We got a 24-hour hydration guarantee. We're going all in on our promise. And really the same thing as a 30-day exchange, isn't it? If it's not hydrating, you're going to return it. We got a 24-hour hydration guarantee. We got a 30-day money back guarantee. Free shipping over 100, 10% off your first purchase. Okay, so what I was really doing was coming up with snippets, and I created this like story snippet table. This is what you guys. This is pretty common what we go through, right? Okay. So this is how we do it. So you could put these all together in one long form story ad, but I'm thinking about how can I reproduce all these hard-hitting content pieces into more short form story content. Okay, so I've got like my, if you look at my category 1 headlines, I picked my favorite 4. I had all 4 that I was showing the examples. But look at the origin story snippets. I didn't even use all 5 of them. I just picked 4. So these origin story snippets should be hard-hitting on their own. And you can see I got like, we wanted a moisturizer to withstand polar vortex, so we made one. We scoured the globe for clinically proven ingredients to give you body butter that works. Okay? And so these are based on the origin story. And they don't necessarily need to be the struggle or the journey or the spider. I just picked 4 that are hard-hitting. Okay, and then we go to the differentiation stack, like just comparing, we got testimonials, we got the offers. Okay, so this is kind of what you do. Like the stuff I was teaching yesterday is the same thing, but I think if you go through this process, it's even harder hitting. Okay? Alright, so that doesn't have to be there. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be